Good morning, traders. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. I'm your host, Gates Adams. So happy to be here sharing some of my morning with you guys. John, I should probably hire you to be my official social media manager. Yes, everybody, make sure you like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. Farrell Muse, my beautiful darling, thank you for showing up this morning. Always great to see you in the chat as well. For the rest of you out there, we have a phenomenal show for you today. I have to say, when I get caught up in conversation with a guest the way that I just did prior to the show, I always know it's going to be a phenomenal show. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of really cool things to show you guys. So make sure you stick around for the entire show. We've got some fun. Also, we are on the countdown to episode 100. We're 2 weeks away. In 2 weeks, we have episode 100. I'm still trying to put all the pieces together, but any way you slice it, it's going to be a phenomenal show, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Hopefully, we're going to have the opportunity to have some extra fun, so make sure to stick around for that as well. Couple of things. First and foremost, we should have a new episode of the Forge Trader podcast launching this week on Thursday, if everything goes as planned. Bear with me if we have any struggles, but I'm hoping that we have everything together and ready to go. You can also always check out theforgetrader.com/join and get updates on everything going on in the world of me, the Forge Trader. Also, Apex Trader Funding, 80% off right now, starting off the month right. Make sure to take full advantage of that at apextraderfunding.com. Use promo code Benzinga. That will get you 80% off right now. Load up. Be prepared, and let's start August off with an absolute blast. John is letting us know, of course, that his goal is a Ferrari. John, you and I have been chatting for a while. I know you've got it in you, so we'll just keep after that goal and make sure that we keep updated on how things are going from there. All of that said, everything seems to be just in line for some pretty exciting things coming up. So make sure to hang with us as we start off the month of August with some fun things in the line. Without any further ado, let's welcome Alex today from Flow Zone Trading on today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Alex, good morning, man. How's it going?
Good morning, Gates. Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's such a pleasure to have you in here. Just as I said in the intro, I love it when we get into these conversations and all of a sudden it's like, whoops, the show's about to start. Let's pull
we got carried away.
always a good sign for what's coming up. So, dude, thank you so much for taking some time and sharing some of your insights with us today. I just want to share early on, because we're going to get into some deep conversations about it as we continue through the show, but you have an indicator that you've put together that you've graciously shared with me that I've had a chance to peek at over the course of the last couple of weeks, but really haven't had a chance to dig as deeply into as I would like. So I'm looking forward to getting into that chunk of the show today. For all of you out there, of course, if you find some interest in what we're going to be talking about today, make sure to check out Alex at the Flow Zone Trader at all the socials. As he mentioned, he's more prolific on YouTube, but he's more communicative on X. So take that as you will, and we'll dig a little bit more into that. So Alex, let's talk a little bit about, where you are right now and kind of how you got here. How did the world of trading begin for you? How'd you get in the game?
Oh, it's kind of a crazy beginning. I was always interested in it. My father was a trader at Merrill Lynch, and before that worked at Reuters. Okay. And when I left university, my best friend from university was at Morgan Stanley, and then ended up working at Standard Bank, and now runs his own firm. And during all that time, I became a DJ and music producer and traveled the world doing that.
So you were the black sheep out of the whole group, right?
Yeah, like while maintaining my interest in the markets, which like they don't really go yin and yang, traveling the world, drinking and partying, trying to watch the markets. Mm-hmm. And then so, as I got older, I started to sort of invest more long-term swing positions, ETFs. And I was lucky that I had an interview with Morgan Stanley when I was like 21. I'm approaching 40 now this year, actually in like 30 days or something. And he gave me Market Wizards and was like, you need to start there. This will start your journey. And he was right. That kind of started the journey.
Right.
And I moved into small caps in 2019, mainly on the short side. And there was a group of us who had like a private Discord, a couple guys from like 7 Points Capital and SMB. And then from there, I moved into like the large caps. I wanted a bit less volatility and like a bit more consistency. And then a friend of mine reached out to me and was like, hey, you should like check out trading futures. Because at the time I was like, you know, taking more long-term positions in the large caps. So I was like, I don't mind like checking it out. And I loved it. I instantly loved it because coming to the small cap world where you've got, you know, trade ideas or your stock screener every day and you're having to track a million things with a million charts and it just feels really messy. And now I know what I'm looking at. I know my levels every day. I can remember them every day. It just feels way less pressurized. I just wait for my setup. And along that journey, obviously found Apex and then started, you know, building out, you know, learned some hard lessons about leverage, like moving across, as everyone does when you move from, you know, stocks into futures. It takes a minute or two. And yeah, here we are. That was probably like, I don't know, quite a few years ago now. And I found a lot of consistency. And this year's been great with Apex, really good.
Well, and I love hearing the story about the transition from more of the swing positions to the intraday trading, and of course, folks that are trying to sell a swing program. The big selling point is, hey, you know, you come in, you spend a few minutes every day, and then you walk away and go on about the rest of your life. Which we all know the sales pitch versus the reality in virtually anything, right?
It would be nice if it
Particularly
was like that. Hey,
yeah. So you found the overwhelm. There was just too much to look at during those basically just, you know, manage your trade times. And what is it about that day to day spending that time in front of the charts that's more appealing for you?
um, I think the thing now is that I know my big news events, and like when you're trading like the small caps or even the medium caps, you know, there's news drivers every day, whether it's like the press release on like a therapeutic in the morning or an offering that comes mid-afternoon out of nowhere, or like there's so many different variables. Whereas, okay, this market this year has been a bit tough with Trump on Twitter all the time, but the variables in general are slightly less. We know the news drivers are coming 8:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock,
Right.
and then the FOMC days, right? And then earnings. So I think for me, I love being able to track NQ and ES. I mainly trade NQ, but I look at them as a pair together all the time. And that's all I really need to look at. Like on this screen here, I'm looking at my Mag 7. I can see where I've got relative weakness or relative strength. I know my levels. I plot my levels out from the day before, and my setup is the same, or my setups now are the same setups every day, and they're on the same vehicle. For me, it's a trading vehicle. NQ is my trading vehicle, and I don't need to worry about 3, 4, 5 other tickers all the time, which is where things can get dangerous. I mean, how many times I put on a trade where I thought I was trading one stock and I've executed on a level 2 on the wrong thing, and like things like that just don't happen now, which is great. Like for me, it's like, can we trade and take our stress level down and our focus level up? And trading futures allows me to do that.
That's such a phenomenal point because look, trading in and of itself is just a stressful endeavor. I mean, you particularly in day trading, yes, you have to make quick decisions. Yes, you have to be prepared for anything. As we were talking about before the show started, sometimes you walk away from your desk for 30 seconds to a minute and you missed something. You know, that stuff does happen, and there is that sort of emotional roller coaster that comes from it. But what you have done is created a level of simplicity. And I think so many traders get caught up in, I want to know everything. I want to know if there's divergence from one market to another. I want to know, I want to know what the top tech stocks are doing because I trade NQ. I want to know, I want to know, I want to know. And I'm not saying that there's not value in that, because I know a lot of very successful traders who do take that type of approach.
Yeah.
However, the reality is that we've proven that that's not necessary. You can be successful with much more simplified pieces of information. Has that been a specific intentional approach that you've taken with the markets, or did it just sort of develop that way?
Yeah, I think it sort of, if I'm honest, it developed over time. There was definitely with everyone's trading career, you get caught in that strategy hopping, let's call it.
Yeah.
And with that, I think comes the confusion that you're talking about of like, I think if you can't define your setup and you don't know what your setup is, you're probably caught in that area.
Right.
So for me, it's really simple. Like all my trades come down to location and momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like beyond that, yeah, there's some further technical analysis and my biggest flaw as a trader prior to the last 2 years would be being front side of a trade, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a small cap habit which kind of drifted over, because from small caps, I was looking to get short on like an extension into a key level. And, we got into the COVID era where stimulus checks were going out and we went from 3 standard deviation moves to 4 to 5 to 6 very quickly.
Right.
So that's where I refined my process. And I was like, hey, we're just going to trade in good locations when the momentum moves your way. That's the premise of all my setups. And then it's just understanding what the different variables of those locations are. Is it supply and demand? Is it an old high? Is it initial balance? Like all the levels are key, but it's just about waiting. And that's all trading is. It's waiting for the market to come into a good area. And then, can you manage your risk in that area accordingly?
Perfect. And I love the fact that you say the key right there is managing risk, because yes, you've got to enter the trade, but at the end of the day, winning long term is about risk management more than anything else, because you are going to lose trades, you are going to take runners. I mean, all of these, everything that can potentially happen is going to happen at some point or another. If you manage your risk well and you have a reasonably decent system, that's what makes for long term success, in my humble
Absolutely.
opinion.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a bunch of fans in the chat who, of course, are absolutely promoting you. I love that, because again, this is what really tells me when the insight that we're about to experience is that much more profound. Now, having had an opportunity to play around a little bit with your indicator, let's go ahead and dig into the charts and let's talk a little bit about this, because I know that this just isn't about the indicator and red light, green light, buy, sell. There's more to it than that, and so I'm looking forward to sort of getting a little bit better insight into what it is that you do with the information that's provided on here. So just deep dive us into, real quick, give us the overview of what it is that we're looking at and how you utilize this.
Yeah. So basically this indicator is effectively back tested based on good levels of pullbacks and momentum in the market. Based on rolling Fibonacci's. So the main waves you're seeing here are based on rolling Fibonacci's. And my layup setups are always when what I call a pro trend setup happens. So I'm always looking for traders to be stuck in some way. That's the premise of my system. So if we think about what happened last week, we had a blow off top, okay, and we had this happen here where we left traders stuck at the highs, right?
Right.
And then this morning we've seen traders stuck at the lows, and we're getting like a mean reversion trade.
Mm-hmm.
That's the premise of every way I trade.
Mm-hmm.
And this system here is basically all of my work into one indicator, which just makes it easier for me to see the levels. So every day when I come to market, if you forget like the buy signals and the sell signals and everything else, what am I really looking at? Well, I'm looking at Globex range. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at previous week close, previous day close, previous day low, previous week low, previous day high, previous day open, previous week open, right? And previous week high. So open, high, low, close on higher time frames. That's the premise of how we work in a market all the time. Open, high, and the low and close. If we think about those as S&R levels, support and resistance, or supply and demand, however you want to frame it in your head, those are the locations that I'm interested in trading in, because those are the locations where traders are likely to be trapped.
Right.
And beyond that, like, I will refine it with volume profile to see, where a value area low is based on a higher time frame and so forth. So what we're really looking at, the horizontal lines are all levels of interest to me. All right. Mm-hmm. So they're all higher time frame levels of interest. These lines here, this orange line, which goes green, is what I call a higher time frame algo. It's an EMA, which I've back tested over millions of sessions at this point. And I know the market likes to use it as a point of reference. So for here, coming into Thursday, gapping down Friday, we back test it, we come into it, we back test it, we come underneath, we back test it, and here's your sell. All right. So now we know we've got buyers trapped up high, We don't let them out the market. We get a confirmation underneath, and we're looking for trend lower at this point, which is what we get Thursday and Friday for continuation. The same said for my lower time frame algorithm. Now, right now I'm on a 5-minute chart, but this works across all charts. It's all like time frames. It depends how you like to trade. So this pink line, all right, is my lower time frame algorithm. It works exactly the same principle as the higher time frame. When we start coming under it, you can see we trend away, we trend away, we trend away, we back test it, we stay heavy, we trend away, we trend away, we trend away, we back test it, we stay heavy. For me, these are areas of confluence. I'm not trading because we come to an EMA or an SMA or anything like that. It's never a signal for me. Yes, it's firing sell signals and buy signals, but it's really letting you know what the momentum is in the chart. So for me, structure is everything. So like we talked about, Thursday, stuck up high, Globex high, Globex low. There's opening print. Okay, so Thursday, gap down, come back in, can't reclaim Globex, can't reclaim previous day high. Underneath lower time frame algorithm, everything's shooting here red in a sell signal. Okay, so I don't want to fight the trend, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like we talked about, my habits coming into both futures and like big caps were trying to fight trends because I was so used to being short on extensions for the small caps, and so I designed this system to really stop me doing that. That was like the main premise. And then we're looking for sells away, backtest initial balance, which gets printed, backtest high time frame algo, sell signal again. I'm probably ignoring counter trend moves because I know here buyers are stuck. So I'm staying with trend all the time. And I use what I call the flow zones, which are these waves or these clouds. These are areas where I'm interested in participating because I know they're good value in that session. So if we get very simple system like this where we move, we probably trap buyers trying to get extensions, we flush, we trap them one more time. This is what I call a deep flow zone pullback, and here is our momentum crowd. So I'm not necessarily entering shorts here, but I might be waiting for a move, under, over, stay heavy against where those buyers are trapped, and then we're taking walk down. And it's the same principle and the same setups over and over again. Like I talked to you, like pre-market, I always think of these like a bowling alley. And we have when you're a kid, you have the sort of the gutter protectors up so you can't put a gutter ball. And for me, this system that I'm looking up here, we're in a sell. We're clearly below every key level. I don't want to be trying to buy dips. All right. And that would be throwing the ball in the gutter. What I want to be is with the momentum on pullbacks, not trying to fight it. And then I'm looking left, of what is the point at which I might want to start covering. And that's all we're ever doing when we're looking left. We're looking for, key levels of SNR or however we want to call it. Where's my entry and where's an area where I want to be taking a partial or getting out and holding a runner, because there's so much meat in these moves. This obsession with, I want to pick the high and pick the low and post it on, social media. It's nonsense. If that moves 200 points or 250 points, 50, 100 points in there will get you paid consistently. And so those are the layup moves that I'm looking for. So it was the same premise this morning, except the opposite of Thursday, Friday. This was a 4 standard deviation move off the high on the dailies. Those who trade with me, I look at the daily Bollingers. We get stuck here on Friday. And on the Sunday open, we fail to break a low. So that clearly means anyone who's short side in here, they're not getting their wish because they want continuation underneath a daily Bollinger Band, which is almost never going to happen. And then we get this grind and we're looking left. All right, so shorts have their stops here, here, and here. So a mean reversion trade, when we think about the likelihood of this trade, we've moved straight down. We're likely to give some form of mean reversion, and then we have to see if a lower high is set for a pro trend back down. So my premise this morning is, you're either long pre-market or like you took the Globex hold, right? So we're long with the flow zones. We reclaim the key levels. This is your lower time frame algorithm. Here we're long. You're long, pullback, long, base over Globex. This is, if you were long anywhere down here, this should be like a TP1. We push into the high time frame algorithm. This would be a TP2. You can see this push and pull. All right. So the markets respect it. It holds over it, reclaims an opening range high, creates an initial balance high. Now the target's now really a previous day high. We actually have a 50% retracement up here.
Right.
or more, or what I was saying to the team that trade with me, I'm not looking for longs up here because we're now extended.
Right.
So now we're waiting for looking left. Either you're short here for this rotation back down, or you're waiting for something to offer a new buy signal to go back up to take more liquidity out. And I know it's really quick way of me going over it very, very quickly. But it's like trying to dial it into a small session with you to make it make sense.
Right.
Well,
and I want to pick out on one piece of information that you referenced several times. And the reason I want to do this is because you and I trade very similarly. And when I started to understand this concept at a deeper level, this was probably one of the most pivotal concepts that helped me become a more successful trader. And that's the concept of trapped traders.
Yeah.
For those that aren't familiar with the term, or maybe have a very loose understanding of the concept, can you give us like your, fifth grade level of this is what a trap trader is and this is why it matters?
Yeah, absolutely. So how I explain it to people that work with me most of the time is, if we think like 80 or 90% of the market fail, 90% of the traders fail. All right. So then what's the most common trade that a trader takes in the market? The first trade you're ever taught, breakout. It's a breakout trade, right? Mm-hmm. Market premise is that breakout traders will probably enter late unless you have experience in the market. Unless you're a breakout here, of value is very different to a breakout here. And it's understanding that if you're going to take a breakout, you want it on, consolidation of an area where there's a key pool of liquidity above that we're likely to search for. What you don't want is to take a breakout at a high, like you're asking to get stuck. So for me, I always think about who's on the other side of the trade. So if we're thinking about trap traders, I'm always thinking about who's a breakout trader in the market, either a breakout long or a breakout short. It doesn't matter which way. Who is the trader who's going to chase the market down when we've already moved 250 points down? Or who's going to chase the market up when we're up at all-time highs and we're grinding and we're grinding and we're grinding? We do that explosive move and they're like, oh, this is it. Well, no, it was it for 3 months. Like, it's not it now. So I always think about how the market moves. And, your first pullback, second pullback is normally a high probability. Past the third pullback, you're asking for problems because you're probably more likely to see some form of mean reversion back down to a pool of liquidity and then move back up. So I don't want to be trading long up here and I don't want to be trading short down here. And that's where the traders get stuck. And how we look for that is if we think about a candle structure, okay, and we're just going to say this is a high and this is a low. And it doesn't matter, this is fractal, it can happen on an hourly or 4 hour, whatever it is. If you are the trader taking a long up here, right, and value was down here, the smart money or the institutional money were buying the traders trying to get short down here. They were buying their stops so that they can pair off the liquidity without being seen. And they're going to trade upside. And up here, they know that they probably want to start selling some of their profits. So breakout traders are coming in here and here as buyers, and smart money can pair off and sell against them. And the breakout gets stuck here and the sell starts to take over before maybe finding a condition to go back up. And that's the premise of everything all the time. So the market is always, for me, the market's either building liquidity or searching for liquidity. And that means we're trying to build traders trapped in a range, or we're going to go and search for those traders or create what I call max pain, which is what we saw. The last few sessions have been amazing. Let me clean some of this up. So we went back up here. This was the explosive move on earnings. This was our previous high, and you got this push up. And how many traders chased this market at the highs? Where if we just like zoomed out, from a daily standpoint, and this is the other key, is like always understanding where we are in the market. We can take this off for a second. You have to ask yourself, like, if we've moved from here above these highs and until now we've never backtested it, why are you trying to buy up here when we know value just based on SNR, right? Just based on support and resistance. Okay, this is likely to offer a backtest. And from this point, market will need to make decision lower high or No, we get acceptance and we move higher. But this is probably a buy zone and this is a sell zone. But what happens is, your eagerness to chase a market takes over, which is normal psychology, and you get trapped at the highs as a buyer, or you get trapped at the lows as a short, which is, what happened this morning. How many traders on Friday were entering short positions for swings, hoping for a gap down, and unfortunately, they're probably in a lot of pain right now. So
Right.
that's the premise.
Well, and that's the thing. We never know if there's going to be a gap down or if there's going to be that reversal. And that's where it becomes so key to have a strategic system that will give you an opportunity. I don't necessarily want to say enter either way. I know some people only look for reversals. Some people only look for continuation, and
Yeah.
more reversals, I guess, than anything. But being able to position yourself where I don't know if it's going to gap down. I don't know if it's going to reverse. But if I take the wrong trade, how bad am I going to get hit? Versus if I take the right trade, how big am I going to win? And this is really where you get into the conversations of, risk to reward and win ratios, which is a bigger discussion for a bigger day. But being able to see that statistically speaking, this is what I'm looking for. This is where I know I'm going to be in a higher statistically potential position, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, and managing that. Dude, I love this. Again, this is a 30-minute show. I do this every week, but I could absolutely sit here and dig deeper into this for hours, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat a little bit more about this. But I want to talk a little bit about, being on the other side. So at this point, you've created your indicator. You've been the developer of your own strategy, whereas so many of us get into the point where we hunt for strategies, and then we latch onto something, we learn it, we grow it, or whatever the case may be. You've taken this a step further, which of course leads to the question of what does life look like for you as a trader on the other side of the growth and development and the time energy you've put into being this level of a trader?
It comes with different pressures.
Sure.
I would say, the constant internal pressure to size up and push for more and growth. And I've learned probably the hard way numerous times in my career that that's a harder process than people probably understand when they're starting out. It comes with its own issues of trying to scale and grow, and so that's always a challenge, always wanting to do better and do more.
Sure.
I absolutely love the education part of it. Gives me more satisfaction than anything else. I think I can proudly say, those who work with me, there's a genuine care of attention there, and
Sure.
Trying to not just help build a community, but help build a community who support each other. And whether we all trade the same system because they learn from me, and yes, there might be variations of it, but that's probably the most rewarding part of the job. Right. I'd say if I wasn't teaching, I'd have less reward, but a lot more free time on my hands. So that's the balance. But I love, there's nothing better than, having students come to you, especially if they've, been struggling for months and years, and start to define a process. And most of what I do with everyone I work with, it's let's start at one setup. Can you master one setup that will give you a trade? It might be once a day, maybe it's less than once a day, but you understand that setup, you understand the risk parameters, and just start to grow into that. And then we can add in the other setups as we go, so you have more variables each day to trade with.
Well, and I think there's definitely something, and I say this a lot on the show, that people that do serve the community, trading is hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I know most traders who have stuck it out, it's the hardest thing they've ever done. And having that type of mentor who will not just say, oh, here's my on-demand program, check it out, throw me a few $100 and whatever. Being involved in the community is a whole different level. And you talk about hey, I could trade, I could sell a program, I could have a lot more free time, but there is that reward of being involved in that community in that deeper sense. And I love seeing that. I also, just talking to you the few times that we've spoken over the course of the last few weeks, your depth of knowledge in the markets is incredibly high. And I say that to say that, we've all seen like the indicators out there. It's like, hey, super simple indicator. Watch this. When you see a green, hit buy. When you see a red, hit sell.
Yeah.
And we all know that long term that those don't really have a whole lot of viability, because what they're missing is that deeper understanding. And that, I think, is what separates coaches like you and instructors like you versus somebody who's just got a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I can tell by the people that are in the chat that have decided to show up for you today, that absolutely says a lot about that as well. And so, again, when I see a lot of consistency in what I see from various guests, and this definitely tells me a lot. I do want to take a quick moment because we are here at the 30-minute mark. For those of you, don't forget to fill out the form for a free valuation through Apex Trader Funding. Make sure to fill that out before the end of the show, and you'll have a shot at winning one of those. I do also want to make sure that I announced last week's winners. I forgot to do that at the beginning of the show, and forgive me in advance. Tara, I'm not sure. Alphonsus, I'm just going to go with Alphonsus there, and Phil. Congratulations to you guys. Make sure that you get that form filled out, and maybe we'll be calling your name out on the next show. We have 2 shows 2 weeks away from the 100th episode of the Trader Bacon Show. So make sure you don't miss that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully we have a stupendous, some little extras hopefully for you guys as well. Alex, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing some of your insights and wisdom with us. If you guys want to follow Alex and know a little bit more about what he's got going on, you can find him on any of the socials at Flowzone Trader. And as I mentioned before, more content on YouTube, but more communication on X. So use that as you will. If you need a testimonial, just check out the chat. There's some super fans in here as well. And as far as I go, as far as me, of course, you can always find me at The Forged Trader. TikTok forced me to use a 3 instead of an E at the end of Trader. So if you're looking for me on TikTok, just throw an E in there. Otherwise, everything else is standard The Forged Trader. Check out the Forged Trader podcast on all your podcast platforms. And other than that, what a stupendous week. I'm looking forward to kicking things off and having a phenomenal August. Check out Alex, check out The Forged Trader, and of course, make sure to be back here next week for the next episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Make sure to join us next time, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern.